Welcome back, everybody, to the 2014 European Challenger Series. It's time for the final round of this quarterfinal fight. Take Trick and Duck versus the Storm Games clan, all tied up 1-1. The next team to take out a Nexus will earn a spot in the semifinals, where they'll face the Ninjas in Pajamas in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty tough one for them, obviously. Ninjas in Pajamas look strong. But, you know, last game was a huge comeback game for SGC. They really dominated the objectives. We got 13 turrets to just 1 tower on the other side, which was really impressive. And I have to say, like, worst ADC is not.
No.
I'm not going to make that joke anymore.
No.
I just can't say his name quickly, so I start thinking of jokes in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But his lane, he was 7-1-6 on Caitlyn. Like, against Sunny, his head-to-head matchup has been really one-sided. And obviously the supports have a lot to say about it as well, but it's always the AD carry that gets all the glory.
Yeah, of course. The supports don't really matter. They're just there to make us look good as AD carries. You know, if you set up the kills, you put a Thresh Lantern down there, hook someone else, pull us in there, and Ezreal gets the kill. It's a good job, Ezreal, for landing a basic attack. Thresh did nothing there. That's how it works.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because you have to know to click the Lantern.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult. Had to right-click them and everything. And junglers also, right? They set up the kills, they get around all the wards, they sweep everything, they set it up. Again, AD carry picks up the kill. Even gets the assist, still good job to the AD carry.
Yep. Although, you know, some people have been saying AD carries aren't as impactful.
Yeah.
2014 season. I disagree with those guys. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing them in every game.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single game. They're dominating in lane. They've been dominating in this matchup. Yeah, sometimes someone can get strong enough that they can fight you. Oh, no.
Yeah, right?
Come on, man.
And I kind of agree that, like, at 20-ish minutes, that's true, right? Sunfire Cape Ninja Tabby is going to beat Bloodthirster Zeal or Bloodthirster Static Shiv. Generally speaking, like, that guy's going to win that fight. The Renekton's going to beat me as, like, Caitlyn or whatever. But at the same time, my 6-7 build is going to be better, generally speaking. I can do actually more in team fights. While Mundo beats me in the 1v1, he doesn't get to 1v1 me. He has to get past everyone, right? Gets knocked around, whereas I have, like, 600 range or something. So I think it's interesting because it's still this dance, right? Like, if the team has more engaged than you have disengaged, like, okay, they will get to the AD carry.
Exactly.
They will kill the marksman because they don't defend themselves. They're not supposed to 1v1 people. They're supposed to be safe. Their distance is their
the lines of battle in League of Legends get lost so much. You think that, like, an AD carry, it's all about the fact that they are ranged damage, safe damage, sieging damage. I think if you're looking at brute force fighting potential, if that's all that mattered in League of Legends, if we were just like in an arena that was really small, just like Darius would just be 5 of them in every game. I mean, that's the way the game
each other's
would work.
kills.
Yeah, but that's not how the game works.
No.
So you definitely need to have front line, mid line, back line, or variations, and that's how games are generally won and lost. Yeah.
Yeah. And
really,
so
I just went super general, so there's like no way you can disagree with me. So it's like, you need range and melee.
Yeah.
Like, so AD carries are strong.
You should play the game properly, and the teams that play better will win. Well, thank you for that one. That's very insightful. But you're right. Like, and it's funny too because a lot of the picks have become very different. So first of all, we talked about this, right? Junglers got a lot stronger. There's more gold in the new season, so guys like Olaf and Elise just have more power. So the things that AD carries fight are more powerful on average. Jungle Wukong's crazy, also really hard to fight against as an AD carry, but whatever. But also, all the supports getting picked right now is like Leona, Annie, and then sometimes Thresh. But most of those guys are go in, not, oh, I'm Zyra supporting you. So they're left, AD carries are left more alone, and there's more big threats. So yeah, I mean, relatively they got less powerful. At the same time, Reckless has like 6 total deaths.
Yeah. I feel like he's still doing pretty well.
I feel like,
proving once and for all, or just again, that AD carries are strong.
And Reckless is amazing.
Reckless is also a very good player.
Yeah.
I have to give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah. EU AD carry has been playing pretty well of late. I like them. So the picks in bans coming through right here. Storm Games Clan, knowing or expecting that the first pick Zig was going to come through, bans it out for themselves. Same 3 bans here for Tick, Trick, and Duck. I believe the same 3 all 3 games, actually. Gragas Kassadin, another Draven Kassadin. No, SGC banned Kassadin in the first one, or in game 2. So, anyway, Kassadin banned all 3 times. Draven banned all 3 times by Tick, Trick, and Duck. Some of these are similar. Dr. Mundo's still coming through.
Most of them are similar. These guys are actually taking their sweet time with the bans as well. I don't actually blame them, knowing that it is a 3rd game of a matchup, because if you're sitting in a best-of-1, you can plan all you want about trends and history between teams and what you want to go going in. But after you've been in the trenches, like these guys have, for these games, and then they have 5 minutes break they can take in between each games, and then they can go directly back into pick and ban. They're doing the planning on the fly.
Yeah.
So that's why these picks and bans are that much slower. They're trying to react and theory craft and plan off of all that happened in the last 80 minutes of in-game gameplay, and then pick a perfect team. That's why these are so slow.
And of course, as well, it changes the priorities because, for example, you almost would never see a game come in and Vi be prioritized over Elise. Elise has been like the go-to jungler in both champ selects so far. Elise was the first jungler picked, if I recall correctly, and now it's TikTok and Duck saying, you know what, Vi's doing more for us right here. SGC will have a hard time engaging fights if we take the Vi away.
Yeah.
I think we're okay here.
I think it's a similar thing as well, just taking champions away from people that have been successful.
Yeah.
Glad IQ has had a very successful game on Vi, had a medium game in the first one, but it's the comfortableness that they've been getting. And if they take Renekton as well, they're saying, screw you, Cavalier and Glad IQ, we're taking away their front line. And I think that's smart. Yeah,
so TTD happy to actually shake up their own lineup. Of course, a lot of their big champions getting banned away.
Are they just going to pick SGC's lineup?
They're looking at it. Well, are we going to see... Well, they can't pick Lulu. It's already been taken.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, they're absolutely trying this. Okay, well, we need a Kha'Zix and a Malphite.
So is this the tick, the trick, or the duck?
This is the trick. Actually, no, it's game 3. It's the duck.
The tick was game 2, where they lost.
Okay.
The trick is game 3 champion select.
Okay.
And I haven't seen the duck yet. I don't know what to
He was yesterday, NIP.
What wouldn't they be duck, tick, and trick?
I mean, maybe. But yeah, all right, we're going to
talking about nuke duck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're good. We're good. SGC. It feels more awkward without music.
Yeah, I know. I really wish we had music right now. This is creeping me out a little bit.
I would feel less bad about it. We are back.
Are there any champions that can duck?
Vladimir.
All right.
Kind of.
Mid lane Vladimir. That'll be the duck.
That'll be the
when
duck.
We see it.
Actually, also Pool Party Ziggs has a duck.
But he's banned. Oh.
Darn. Well, Shen coming through here. Now, the funny thing is that actually it's probably almost definitely top lane Shen, but Diamond did play jungle Shen earlier today.
The return of Shen.
Yeah.
It really seems to be.
Millennium's been playing him a bunch for Kevin.
Yeah. He's very weak early on in lane. Which, to me, makes it a bad pick for SGC because they won last game off of being strong in lane.
True.
But you can make the argument that he still scales pretty well into the late game. It's somewhat similar to the Mundo pick in that sense, where his only goal is to play passively, and he can do that pretty well. So you may as well just pick an excessively tanky passive champion against Renekton, so he can't kill you in lane.
Okay.
In that case, it's a strong pick, and they're going to try and protect Vayne above all else in this one.
She's a little important
Lulu
here.
and Shen.
Oh, I like this change here by TikTok and Duck. They grabbed up Xerath to just burst the crap out of that Vayne, and I feel like that's going to happen pretty successfully. Vi to lock down, right? Xerath can help. Even like flash flays from Thrashers, anything to kind of make this happen. I feel like that's pretty powerful.
So, I like Xerath more against really squishy lineups.
Okay.
Generally, that's when I've seen him have most success, even though he's seen very infrequently. It's very difficult for Xerath to lock down a Vayne, especially when there's this much shielding, because Xerath pretty much has within the window of his ultimate to try and burst someone out, and it's generally when he maxes out around like 2,000 damage. That's not going to be enough to kill Vayne.
Okay.
With the shielding that they have, and it might not be enough damage to kill anyone on SGC. I like the pick because it's tricky, it's unconventional, and Mia might not be able to play against it.
Yeah.
But I actually don't like it in the context of what they're playing against.
Well, we'll see what the last pick ends up being, if it's something that can target anyway, despite everything else, and it's going to be Orianna, so...
More shields.
Yeah! So Doublelift would love this comp right now. This feels... This, like, really, like, feels like a... I mean, it clearly is a protect the AD carry comp, but, like, I haven't seen this run in a very long time.
No, this is a throwback composition.
Yeah.
If Elise was someone different, this would be a Season 2 composition for the most part.
Lee Sin could shield. Then they would have 4 shields.
Wow.
They should have picked Lee Sin.
Haven't seen much Lee Sin. You can definitely see, we talked about them having like kind of quirky champion pools in the Challenger Series. We're definitely getting to see that with Snow Xerath.
Yeah.
Man. So Xerath.
Yeah.
Haven't talked about him in a while.
No, we haven't.
Because he's not in games. Morellonomicon and Void Staff are 2 very early items that I like on him. when we saw him a little bit in North America.
Yeah.
Season 3 spring split?
I want to say spring.
Or was it summer split? Yeah,
I think it was spring.
Reginald played a little bit of him. And because he has the inherent magic penetration already, when you get the Void Staff, you're pretty much doing true damage to whoever you want to.
Yeah.
Which is rather nice. I'm expecting Morellonomicon Deathcap Void Staff if he really wants to burst out. But specifically the Morellonomicon, because the cooldown reduction is very key on him if he wants to get multiple waves down with like 2 Qs in a row in a short succession of time. My words are...
It's okay. We're getting there.
They're tired, man. What's happening with my words?
One thing that actually is going to be interesting, though, this is kind of minor, but to me it's relevant. The blue buff now, it's only 10% cooldown reduction. Right, so you imagine a typical like Rune Mastery page setup, whatever, right? You spawn with 5 CDR.
Yep.
Morellonomicon or Athenes, if you go for it's 20, so you're at 25. Normally in Season 3,
you'd be at 40.
You'd be at 40. You'd get blue buff, you'd be fine. Now you've got to get blue buff, and it'll put you at like 35, which is still really good, but you'll need a blue elixir to cap out. So you'll get a little bit slower spam.
And did you know, this is not something many people realize, every point of cooldown reduction you get is better.
Yes.
1% cooldown reduction doesn't reduce the cooldown by as much as going from 39 to 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, 100% cooldown reduction would just be instant cooldowns, and that would be obviously be the best.
Yeah.
It's why cooldown reduction is one of the few capped statistics in League of Legends, because getting too much of it would literally break the game.
I just want to be Karthus in that scenario.
Yeah.
I will just stay on the fountain.
Yep. That's why Karthus was banned in One for All.
Yeah.
Because 5 of them
would just
wouldn't have even been a game.
Nope. It'd be over at level 6.
Yep. Or Teemo, because you could get, if you did it perfectly, 200 shrooms on the map.
Yes.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be annoying at all.
Nope.
Oh, okay. That would suck a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Okay. Singed, though, really weak in that mode. Poison Trail didn't stack, I believe.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That's why the One for All modes are off and on. You get to see them occasionally. I had a blast with that map.
I had a fun one.
To be honest. The worst matchup I had, we played 5 Warwicks. We had to play against. It was amazingly fun, but we had to play against 5 Lee Sins, and I've never seen such a larger mismatch in like mobility versus inability to chase people. They're just
you get one low and you all run really fast though.
Yeah. Oh man, they're just kicking us all over the place.
My favorite was actually Mordekaiser versus Rammus. So I discovered 2 things: the more W and R both don't stack.
Okay, that makes sense.
They didn't. Yeah. I mean, I was like really hoping to be like 150 armor MR Mordekaiser doing like 500 damage a second. That'd been great. Didn't happen. But yeah, as soon as the battle started to break, it was just over. Because you just start getting ghosts everywhere, and it was just like, and you're all dead.
What's interesting in this game, though, is we actually have a 2v1.
Oh, yeah.
Which is even stranger that... I mean, it's not even stranger. So they want to make Vayne be able to farm. They don't want to put him up against Sunny's Caitlyn. This, however, means that Sunny X should be able to take down this bottom turret fairly quickly. Unlike in the last patch, there is no damage reduction or fall off or anything on that turret. It is basically like a Season 3 turret, which, if we remember, could fall very quickly, and they're trying to take it down as quick as possible.
It's already down to half at 3 minutes. That's pretty nice. The taunt, though, onto Bonaparte doesn't do too much, so GladIQ already showing up to defend this turret, try to keep it alive. Nightmare has hit level 3, but is choosing to keep farming or even defend the turret 2v2. He's not looking to try to end this turret's life early on. He's trying to keep Phantom Joe alive for now.
Yeah, and Vayne is just trying to farm. That's the whole reason that SGC has done this. They literally just want to get Vayne fed. So late game, they can protect the Vayne, or even mid game is actually more when a protect the Vayne composition really works.
It's like 1 or 2 big items and then doesn't
if he can
die.
Or even if he gets 3 or 4, but he's got like 10 or 15 kills.
Oh, man.
Because then it doesn't matter that your damage is only coming from one source, because he's just dealing out so much damage. It's an incredibly... I'd have to say the amount of times we've seen like a protect the X composition, they don't win that often.
No.
I'm trying to think. They probably got about a 1/3 win rate, but they're just putting all their eggs in his basket.
Well, and they're putting Nightmare, or just Nightmare in general, actually. It's not even an I, it's a lowercase L. L Nightmare running away from this one, both on live and tournament run, by the way. Lowercase L Nightmare.
Or is it an I Nightmare?
I mean, it's not like that name got taken, right? He chose to be L Nightmare. Maybe he just likes buffering the N with like an extra wall.
It's true.
Space it out from the tag.
Makes it harder for people to type in your name.
It's always good.
Yeah.
Guys with accents in their name who are like, oh, please add me. My name is, and it's in like Hangul. It is like, nope, not adding you. You can friend me and I'll try.
It's just 5 boxes. All right, here comes Glad IQ, trying to save this turret a little bit. We're 4.5 minutes in. They still haven't pushed down this bottom turret. I really wonder what will happen when this turret does fall, though, and whether Caitlyn and Thresh will transition to try and push down Orianna, or if they're just going to keep pushing. Where was that going?
I don't know.
He has a ward in the bush. Like, he could have hit him.
I'm unsure.
All right.
Maybe, so you know how like you don't show which way you face when you first cast. Actually, hold on, top lane, getting fought a little bit. ADC West front, trying to run away. Condemns Joe backwards with a flash. Stone's going to land. Barrier pop, but doesn't block any damage at all. It's going to be TTD forced backwards, but burning one of the summoners here, trading 1 for 1.
He was really afraid of Vi getting in range for a red buff proc right there because he'd already used his condemn. And I guess he values his flash more highly than his barrier. So,
okay.
And probably smart choice. I think flash will save him in more instances than the barrier will.
Yeah, and barrier comes up more quickly as well, so he's going to be fine with this one. Looks like these guys are still putting the siege on in the bottom lane. Interestingly enough, SGC with a gold lead ever so slightly. They're getting a little bit better farm just in their lanes. It's really, really minor, but it exists. Another fight coming in down there. They're still trying. Stun again on ADC West. Go down. First blood. Doesn't even get to flash.
You know, if he had barrier.
Right?
He might have been able to live through that one. Because the red buff actually wasn't on them anymore, and he probably could have just tumbled away.
Yeah.
But that's the unfortunate death. Huge amount of impact there for TTD.
Yeah.
Since it is a Protect the Vayne comp, and they literally lane swapped Vayne so he could get farm. The fact that he died in lane already, terrible for SGC.
And the barrier was actually misplayed in the first place. Didn't even block damage first time around. So, unfortunately,
it's that extra pressure on him right now. Because
Yep.
in the previous games, he got to play on Caitlyn. The rest of his team had damage, and he was just kind of doing his thing, playing in the lane. But the fact that they've built an entire composition around him, since he's been doing so well, I think he just goes in with a different mindset. Like, he has to carry.
That was Snow popping his barrier. Doesn't block almost any damage with it, though. One more hit doesn't land the command attack. Mia just forcing him out of lane. Bet you wish you went Ignite, Orianna.
I love barrier Orianna, though.
Yeah,
especially since she's against Azereth. If she gets caught in a stun, so much easier to stay alive with that.
You just get style points for killing your opponent, though. But you're right. I mean, you're absolutely right about
generally,
this
Orianna
one.
has such a long range, too, that it's so hard to ignite. That's why Xerath has barrier, because even though he is an assassin of sorts, he's never going to be in range to ignite someone.
He's a 3,000 range assassin. Good luck hitting him.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be all right. Looks like Chalice, actually. So instead of Merlin, it is going to be Athene's for Snow. Slowing his damage build down a little bit, but really wanting the mana.
Yeah, and the magic resist, obviously. Merlin does give some mana in its own right.
Yeah.
Especially because he's going to be getting a blue buff. I'm preferential to the Merlin, but
It's the one I see the most, too.
Oh, no. Ooh.
He didn't get it?
No.
Oh, that's rough.
Nightmare got that blue.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Good thing he has the Chalice.
Yeah, he planned for it.
It's more magic, more mana regen.
Nightmare's so good.
Mana regen.
Yeah, right, it's mana regen.
Yes.
Here we go, Phantom Joe. Gonna land the stun onto ADC West. So there's the ulti. Stand United coming by as well. Is that gonna be enough? Looks like yes. Gonna force these guys away.
It's enough to burn Shen's ultimate at least.
Yeah.
And get him out of defending this mid lane siege, which is now safer since there's no threat of a Shen teleport.
Okay. So not too much.
enough.
You asked about who ducks. Well, Shen certainly stands. Along with someone else. Any eligible target actually stands.
It's not Tick, Trick, and Stand.
No, it's not.
Doesn't count, Freak.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
Okay. Bonaparte. Uh-oh. I've seen this before. Aframu, is this you? No, it doesn't steal the blue. Wait. Oop. No. I got really excited. I was like really hoping.
Did Orianna...
Ori got it. Yeah, yeah.
There's going to be a bit of a mismatch in the mid lane.
Yes, it is.
Snow on Xerath. Waiting to see the benefits of this pick. It'll have very good dragon defense if SGC tries to go and get it. But outside of that, his laning has been bullied a bit by Orianna, and especially since he didn't get that blue buff, it puts him in a pickle.
And he's 15 minions down right now as well, so Mia doing a great job. That's before the blue buff has really like paid into itself and like made this lane terrible. Snow gets the stun ready, does land it, but gets Shockwave back. Mia with the slow as well. One more Q, 300 health left. Very good lane right there. TTD though sneaking in this dragon. Looks like they're gonna get this pretty successfully.
Yeah.
Maybe?
I think so. Because there's so many people in the top lane right now. There's still Lulu Vayne that it would have just been a 3v3. And they did not want to engage in such tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery. Well, 635 gold dragon right there, 127 a person. Lower value, but still worth about as much as an outer turret right now, speaking of which TTD has one, in addition to a kill and everything else. So early game lead for the team that does not protect the Vayne. We'll see if the mid game we turn around and make this better. For ADC West dying, he's still keeping decent in minions.
Yes.
Better than he would have been in a 2v2, I imagine.
He's going for the Blade of the Rune King as well.
Yeah. His top lane's taken some pretty good damage, and actually, glad IQ's going to be there before Vi. He's going to see Nightmare. Oh, he doesn't maybe. He just shows up for Phantom Joe, though. It's going to be a jump right onto Elise.
God.
Goodbye. That was not what they wanted.
Just locked him down before he could even repel. That was Renekton stunned right into Vi ultimate. Just an absurd amount of damage. And very well executed. This early game is going fantastically for TikTok and Duck.
2,000 gold lead, 10 minutes in, still trying to defend this turret 2v2. We've seen Nightmare spend so much time here trying to shut down worst ADC West, who is at least farming, but not having a miraculous game, I suppose. SGC might need more out of him. A roam coming in here from Bonaparte. Will he catch? Well, he's got a ward, so unlikely.
Probably not. I'm going to say no.
I'm gonna say like 1% chance.
I feel like if TikTok and Duck had Vayne, I would count Tumble as ducking.
Okay.
And Vayne would be the duck.
That's fair.
All right.
Now I'm thinking of like bird animals. We could have like Duck Anivia, Duck Swain. I mean, build a team out of it.
Swain and Anivia could probably count in a weird world when like you don't know the difference between
birds.
Birds, yeah.
Quinn.
Yeah,
or Valor,
anything with bird stuff in it. Someone has a passive named Valor too that has no relation. It's really weird. Anyway.
Why am I not remembering which ability that is? No, it's Ribbon's E is Valor.
Yes, it's not a passive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very active actually.
Anyway, the lane pressure from bottom lane and Sunny X hasn't really transitioned elsewhere in the map right now. They got the one turret, but didn't decide to move it mid. They're now just stopping the turret in the top. So this is kind of the trade-off that the Balance team said they were expecting for doing 2v1 lanes. You can still strategically do it to try and get more farm on your AD carry, but it's actually going to cost you a turret. No longer, I think, are we going to see the days of teams just trading 2 turrets in both lanes and then being like, yep, that's what we were supposed to do.
All right, now we're 8 minutes into the game. Let's actually play things that matter.
Yeah.
Because everything else is traded pretty well equally. So, heavy sieging right now by these guys. This is the more defensible turret, but likely to still fall to the BF Sword Caitlyn. Of course, stuck in this matchup here. ADC West under 1,000 gold until he gets that Blade of the Rune King, but behind Sunny for sure.
Yeah, and if they lose all of their turrets, it won't really matter how much you can farm, because unless their team is actually pulling ahead in gold, the protect the X strategy almost never works. You need that individual at 3,600 gold to be ahead. Vayne, I say that because Vayne's at 3,600 gold. To be ahead in gold than the rest of the enemy team. Otherwise, protecting that person doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah, and of course, speaking of trying to protect him, you've got a 2-0 Renekton on the other side who is about to spike up pretty hard. Sunfire Cape nearing completion. Actually, probably close to done by this point. Oh, interesting. Went early Ninja Tabby and an extra Doran, so does delay that item for himself.
I think it's because he's been in a 1v2 for so much of this, and he's exceedingly careful of dying to a dive. One thing that's very evident in TTD's play is their want to deny farm to Vayne. They have not denied farm to worst ADC West in either of the prior 2 games, and it nearly cost them in the first one, did cost them in the second. They're trying not to make the mistake a third time.
Well, Thresh sitting on top of a ward. That is not the lantern giving light, that is the ward underneath you. He's going to be unfortunate in not finding a hook right there, but that's fine, just a standard 2v2. But now that I guess the early game has happened and these champions have gained more levels, SGC feels a lot better about this 2v2 matchup, and they're not really falling behind. Like, TTD are shoving the wave as hard as they can.
Yeah.
But they're not, like, getting major turret damage. They don't seem to be really denying gold from Vayne that much. I would say that as a minion dies.
It feels like there's enough lifesteal on Vayne right now that she can at least counter any harass that Caitlyn would try to throw down on her. And it turns out that Sunny is just trying to push, not even bothering harassing, because he knows the lifesteal can happen. Vayne is very good when she gets a Vamp Scepter, because Tumble, with the extra damage it adds to the auto attack, will also increase the lifesteal.
Yeah, rank 1, you'll get about 3 extra health out of that one, 30 bonus damage. Blue buff does go to Nightmare, picks that one up with the smite. The jump onto GladIQ, takes the Shen ulti to get away from this one. Cavalier now getting taken a bit of damage as well. Ignite's going to get blocked the rest of the way. Mia puts a shield back on, stun on a Phantom Joe. That's going to let these guys run away, but blue buff does get stolen, hurting Mia a bit.
Getting some revenge. Let's see if Snow can now take some of the CS disadvantage he got when he accidentally had blue taken by his own jungler, now that his jungler has stolen the enemy to make up for it.
Well, -30 roughly. We'll see where it goes from here. Cavalier still stuck defending this lane, has burned his global already. Mid lane still getting pushed around, and Snow doing an alright job of holding on to it so far. Pull onto Lulu. This should be some very good damage. There's a play. The box. No, she flashed away from it. Those thresh changes, I think, part of the reason he gets out of that one, actually. Looks like no damage coming through. Caitlyn ulti. Not going to land on anything. Actually, Vayne's going to go back into this one a little bit. Not too much damage coming across, though.
Thresh's box takes longer to come up from the ground now. You're absolutely right. That would have definitely caught Lulu. I think it would have... Her ult was already down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been a kill then.
Yeah, already flashed. TC West taking a bit of pain. Does have barrier. Doesn't use it this time. Might help him next time around. We'll see what happens. TTD again, though, going for Dragon. This is number 2 right here. First one went down around 9 minutes in. They're trying again. This time, I guess it's still sort of sneaky. They're doing it without vision, but they're also the team that is very much in control right now. So pretty secure.
The gold lead had actually been pulling back a little bit. Mainly because Orianna's farming so well, I think. So it's good that they were able to get that last objective down.
And of course, these top laners have just been trading for the last little while right there. Really no leads growing on either of these guys. So I know we kind of talk about the Renekton scaling and trying to get into the late game successfully and kind of bully an advantage, but Cavalier holding on quite nicely. Trading blows right here, getting stunned, but they're just trading farm, and finally SGC gets their own turret here.
Hey, as long as it's 1 turret to 1, that's great.
Yep.
Vayne essentially escaped the early game. Now it's about finding kills for her. As long as they're just trading farm with the rest of the map, they're not really doing much for themselves. This is the great reason the Vi pick was taken away from them, is it really stops Glad IQ's ability to just gank again and again for that lane, because Elise ganks are far less reliable than Vi ganks.
Snow in a bit of a tricky situation, trying to run away with the stun. Pops barrier, blocks command attack. Mia chasing and gets it with the dissonance. Nice play right there. SGC Mia winning his lane decisively.
Yeah, I think Snow could have waited a bit more on his barrier, but this lane is really getting in a hand. It's level 12 to level 10 right now, and the item differential is just absurd.
And the flay into Lulu, who's forced to ult herself to stay alive. It's going to be Lulu being all right here. Actually, Snow had flash, didn't manage to dodge the QW from Orianna.
Yeah. Definitely playing a little out of his game right now, because he did so well in the first game on Ziggs.
Yeah, he did.
400 some CS. Second game definitely threw him off a little bit. And that's another thing we got to keep in mind with these guys. Big, important best of 3s like this are rare, especially in a new player's life. How people respond to pressure is so different.
Well, the jump in on a Glad IQ does repel into the air to keep himself alive for now. Nightmare comes Vayne into the wall. Vayne going to do what she can. The kill off. Sunny XX picking that one up. Does still have barrier. Pops the ADC West still chasing. Knocked around. But, oh my gosh, Lulu does get the kill, but Nightmare making that one happen. Nice job.
All the good Vi's, ever since Vi started coming back to competitive, maxed the Vault Breaker and can land it. And when she landed that onto the face of Vayne, it completely turned that fight around. That could have been 2, maybe 3 kills for worst ADC West if the Vault Breaker would not have landed. But because it did, just an assist and another death. So Vayne not fed yet.
Yeah, had already finished the Blade of the Ruin King there, used it in the battle, and it didn't quite matter. We'll watch this fight again. And the pull, it just started so well for TTD. Yeah,
you could see Nightmare actually missed the first Vault Breaker, and then they weren't even able to finish down Elise at the very start of that. So you can see that Vayne with the ultimate is getting so many auto tracks off. Additionally, stunning in the wall where there's no brush, so he's actually visible, was just awesome. And then Sunny had to extend so far for that kill that it seemed like he was just going to start cleaning up here, especially when you re-engage with that Vault Breaker. If it doesn't connect, it's an easy double kill for Vayne, because the Vi who was safe just went back in for the chance at a kill. And because he got it, really, really good play in the face of adversity, much like the Smites were in Game 1.
Oh, very well played stuff right here. We're seeing TTD go back to their own side right now. 4-2. All right, they got some people putting on some good plays. The 1-0-3 Vi. Nightmare doing a good job. Will he Smite steal his own blue? No! All right. Doing a good job of that one. Not stealing any of the buffs every time.
We didn't use a Smite the first time to steal it.
Well, no. He's just so good at last hitting objectives.
Well,
yeah.
It's in his blood.
Yep.
He just accidentally gets things.
I take farm all the time when I play support because I'm just used to picking up side lane farm.
I've done that occasionally. I'll see a cannon minion and I'll be like, that's really important to hit. And I'll just go up and hit it. someone get angry at me.
Just smite him away, man. Say, I didn't trust your last hitting. I don't think you're going to get it. Not yours. I'm barely now learning to, like, keep track of my supports, like Targon stacks and letting go cannons.
All out on him, though.
ADC West getting jumped on. It's going to be a lot of pressure coming across. Stun lands, trying to get away from this one. Condemns one back, putting damage on the Vibe. Has really nowhere to go. Easy pickup, Phantom Joe.
Too far away from home. And then they get on Cavalier as well.
Good double taunt. Does reduce the damage there. Puts the shield back on. Oh, stunned by Elise. He might have lived anyway, but
wow,
that was close. Oh
no. He had a feint up.
Yeah.
At that point.
300 health left, though. I feel like that's not how much damage Feint blocks. I feel like he might have been okay the first time.
Yeah, there's no last whisper yet on Sunny.
Yeah.
So he's not cutting through Shen's armor that much. But even so, it's a lot of pressure in multiple lanes. And the split push and the overall pressure has accumulated. It's starting to break through SGC.
Oh, GladiQ going pretty aggressive, but doesn't have a lot of health to share. It's going to be close, taking a lot of pain. Does not get the shockwave. Sunny picks up the kill pretty cleanly there.
Not a good bait, but it was a bait. GladiQ was trying to set up Mia for an Orianna ult right there, since Mia is actually the most farmed on the team, and he's trying to make a big impact there. Just a bit of a misplay. It does seem like SGC is starting to crack under the pressure a bit. From the very start, trying to set up and protect the Vayne composition, a Vayne that is 0-3, and then the one person who's ahead, even though it didn't cost him, misses the Orianna ult and ends up getting Elise killed.
Yeah, it's pretty rough right here. So Tick, Trick, and Duck not falling for the bait right there, getting everything pretty successfully. We're going to see them continue to siege a little bit. Nightmare back to recall. These guys looking to close out Game 3 and move on to that semifinal. The top 4 of the EU Challenger Series. They're going to fight NIP in a couple of weeks, but right now they're fighting Storm Games Clan, doing what they can to close this game out, or at least extend their advantages. 5,000 gold lead, Dragon up in 10 seconds, and a couple of recalls too late for TTD. Yep. As you see a small winner take this back, but Vayne is top to farm.
Yeah, I think Vayne's going to be top to farm for quite a while. Yeah. He is afraid right now of the general strength of Renekton. It's kind of been the story of this series, in a small way, is how strong Renekton has actually been. Because in the first game, he got shut down and just was useless, mostly. But now in the second and third game, as we have an unfortunate pause, we'll be back fairly quickly, is that Renekton, with a good start, can just steamroll over the mid-game. And that's, I think, the big reason he's so popular in competitive play.
Yeah, and usually he's easy to set up for, right? Can dash away from ganks usually, can dash in and force ganks with a stun if you play around your Fury really well. And the best Renektons I see, by the way, aren't spamming Fury Q whenever it's up, whenever they hit 50. They'll store up 100 and wait to see what they need. Say, okay, well, I can put the Armor Shred here, which will generally increase the damage for most ganks. I can put the bigger stun here.
That was the key for me when I was trying to play Renekton. I used to just kind of like use all my spells and be like, they're free, why don't I use them all the time? And people would always like out-trade me. And I'd think, why are these enemy Renektons so much better than me? And as long as you just keep your rage in the red as much as possible, it's just like something clicks. And Renekton is amazing. Dash
in, stun a guy for 1.5 seconds. Pretty much any jungler can land a skill shot when they're stunned for 1.5 seconds.
And, I mean, I'm sure you know this because you're teaching me about Renekton, but I didn't know this at once. The slice and dice rage doesn't get used until the dice.
Yes.
So if you don't want to use that, you can slice in with over 50 rage and then just like not use your dice, and it wouldn't actually consume it if you don't want it to, if you're not using any other spells.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Also fun things about Renekton, you can cancel the entire, like, so most animations, you cancel them. You don't, like, you could have moved anyway, like, you can just kind of be faster with the game. But in the case of Renekton, actually, his W animation is pretty long. He's locked up almost as long as the target is stunned.
Yeah.
But if you have a Tiamat or Ravenous Hydra and you activate it, you will start the stun, land the damage, and then break the rest of the animation that would normally lock you up and move on to the rest of the stuff. And you can use the Tiamat, use a Q, put auto attacks down. Frees up a lot of time.
So if you've seen like a Renekton in pro play by like a Tiamat or Ravenous Hydra, you're thinking like, oh, it's just for the AoE wave clear. Actually, make sure right after your W you're using it again. Also, speaking of Tiamat, Leona's pretty fun with it.
Really?
Yeah. Only because she gets, like, her Q is actually really quick afterwards. So you can, like, hit Q Tiamat. If you're doing, like, a jungle Leona and you actually get to a Tiamat at some time.
Okay.
She clears really fast when she gets to that point because she's just, like, massively speeding through things.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Tiamat's good for that. Interesting note about Leona Q, actually. So most attack resets are counted as a real basic attack. So, like, if I'm Vi or Renekton, right?
Yes.
I hit, I reset, I hit my ability. I now have to wait a full auto attack for my next punch.
Yeah.
Leona's Q is actually, it's hooked up in a way where it's kind of like more like a spell. Your first attack is already ticking down. The Q is basically free.
In the middle.
And your third attack comes in at the normal time.
Which is probably why the Tiamat Leona thing is so fast.
Yeah.
Because there's like a bunch of fake attacks, and you probably get a fourth one in after all of that happens.
Yeah. You get auto Q auto in the same space of 2 regular autos. The Q in the middle is completely free as long as you haven't interrupted your next auto attack frame.
All right. We're going to be getting right back into the dragon fight. It's just a bunch of people fighting a dragon, and I think they're going to win.
TikTok got there first, actually, so it looks like SGC didn't want to do much. Didn't need the full rotation. Nightmare picks that one up with Smite. Had no one to fight against, so he got it. Very well played with this one. 6 into the scoreboard. 6,000 gold, putting Tick, Trick, and Duck in the lead here in the final Game 3 on the way to the semifinals of the first Challenger Spring Series.
Also, we touched on Spirit of the Elder Lizard on Vi in the first game, and how it's more of a solo queue build or a build for if you want to get a lot of farm on Vi. If you're not planning on getting a lot of farm on Vi, like your Nightmare isn't, the Golem and now even the Aegis of Legion, I think is better because he can still initiate without the fear of dying immediately, but he doesn't need to take the farm away from his solo laners.
Yeah, good stuff here. And actually, I feel like I've been seeing less Aegis overall. It's been much less common in season.
It like maybe gets played by supports.
Yeah.
But very rarely on the junglers. Only if you're doing a more supportive jungle style or you're not trying to be a threat of your own, you'll see it. I did a jungle Maokai the other day. That's like the perfect time to build it. But outside of that, I actually like the fact that junglers aren't building it, mostly.
Yeah, I think it should be situational. And he's facing, I mean, arguably, until Vayne really gets going, mostly magic damage, right? Magic top lane, magic mid lane, magic jungle, magic support, He did actually pick up a Landry's Torment at the end of last game on Lulu. So Lulu, eventually, if this gets late enough, can be a damage threat.
Thresh with the Great Escape.
Yeah.
Over the Baron Pit.
Always a good feeling. Those are always fun. I always like the really crazy escapes you can do by, like, okay, there's minions here. I know I can go this way and do these cool things. Mia actually blocked almost all of the Kate ulti with his shield.
That's a very powerful Orianna shield right now since she has the death cap. But there's so many people out of position on SGC. They're just chunking down this turret very quickly. And
it's going to be going down. Stun does not land. I've seen a lot of missed cocoons, actually, this series overall. No one moved into that one. TTD, happy to take that one. Thresh going the other way around. Smart choice. Revealed by a ward here from Cavalier. And
5 turrets to 1.
5 turrets to 1, pretty big score. 6-2 in kills as well. Definitely a really good situation for Tick, Trick, and Duck. The Vayne still not really in carry mode just yet when you've got what's probably a very soon Randuin's Omen coming out for Phantom Joe as well. Just there's a lot of lockdown here for the Vayne. He's going to have a really hard time.
And the strength of these lanes have been so much about the building destruction in this game. Game 2 was 13 turrets to 1. Or there's not 13 turrets in the game.
Would have been
13 buildings.
Okay.
To 1.
I believe
I don't think that's right either.
I think only 1, though.
So it was many buildings to just 1 building in Game 2, and it's the same story this time. I think it's because Sunny on Caitlyn, just Caitlyn in general, has won the lanes and pushed so hard, as well as Renekton, who's just doing the same thing. Oh, dear.
Ooh, one more attack. The box slow might have just been enough. Oh, my gosh, another box slow. Bonaparte just surviving. With about 40 health here. Now Snow looking for the damage into Mia. There's Stand United. Mia trying to outplay this. Is not going to be able to do that. Knock up there coming in from Vi as well, but he survives the whole encounter. It's going to be Elise coming, actually Shen coming back in as well as Elise. And a big trade right there. The rest of the team is coming in. Phantom Joe looking to flank this one. Stuns up Mia. A big knockup from Lulu's going to keep him alive for a little bit. Ignite won't tick down that Orianna. And worst ADC West now has a playground to play in front of. Does not find much to do with this though.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually taking a look there. It was 2 health on Thresh. The fight continues. Vault Breaker lands.
There we go. The jump in and a lot of damage coming across. Lula drop dangerously low. Flash in, picked up right there. Mikhail's Crucible used to help escape the Vayne. But it's a 1 for 0.
Dying breath to use Mikhail's Crucible. Let's see if they can push on this one because there is actually home guard boots on Shen coming to defend this as quickly as possible.
But we're still waiting for Elise and Orianna to heal back up, which means it's a pretty bad number situation. Them still healing for 4 more seconds.
Oh.
The pull in onto Cavalier, flayed backwards as well. Taunt goes onto 1. Stun from Renekton. Stun comes in as well. Sunny picks up the kill credit. 8-2 now. Inhibitor turret is dead, and 25 minutes in, looking at an inhibitor.
And that's that really low cooldown on Xerath ultimate. There's no way SGC expected it to be up right there, but it granted them a kill, just dodging out of another one. But here comes Sunny.
And see if we can get with this one. Mia getting dropped down to half HP, knocked around a whole heck of a lot. Worst ADC West picks up his first kill, but goes down to Caitlyn. 4-1-2 versus 1-4-1. way better kind of game here from Sunny.
Yeah, almost 9,000 gold on the difference here, and it's finally Sunny having his day. Way more items right now than Vayne, able to beat him up in a duel. And the team in general just took a huge amount of building and pressure advantages on the map. He also has a huge fat wave in the bottom lane to make himself even more farmed. And this is looking great for Tick, Trick, and Duck to make it to the next round.
You guys are definitely looking awesome right here. Let's see what else these guys can put in front of them. Giant Renekton 4-1 and 2. Randuin's is done. Maybe Abyss is coming up next. We'll see what he goes for. These guys.
Surprised he didn't finish upgrading that Aegis. It's a 600 gold upgrade to the Lock of the Iron Solari.
50 health, 10 CDR, and a shield.
And most importantly, I think the shield for the rest of the team. But I feel like he'll get there. You don't often have 1,000 gold going back as a jungler, so he probably just wanted to get the Giant's belt while he could.
And just wants the selfish stats, I suppose, to not die when he dives on in. Maybe leaves his team alone and is like, yeah, you guys don't need the shield.
He's trading the selfish and the unselfish stats.
Well, the weird thing
Giant's belt selfish, the Aegis very unselfish.
Yeah, well, right now, he's level 13, so 180-point shield, 50 health as well. So that's 230 HP versus 380 and for 10 CDR. Like, I feel like you would just, even just to be selfish, you would still get
like
locked
just
in.
The shield would be better because the shield is so much gold value, even for yourself.
Yeah. Like, the total health difference is 150 if you count the shield as health. And anyway, we'll see what he does with this one. We're going to move forward, and
we won't see Freak. What if the game just ends?
Well, then maybe.
What if the shield would have been better?
What if? I don't know, man. I mean, Giant's Belt, watch him live with like 20 health, and he's like, I told you so. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Pink Ward, though, on top of Dragon. These guys happy to take this one down. Of course, why not keep extending the gold lead? This one, more than 1,000 gold worth. It's going to put them up now to exactly a 10,000 gold lead. And SGC, I mean, they're split pushing with a Shen, but he is going to get caught out here. Sunny going to go in. Ascension used as well. Flay is really good. Kaiser's going to go back and taunt in. He has nowhere to really go. Hits a Caitlyn trap. And goodbye, Shen.
Trying to split push when no split pushing was possible. That would have been a good thing for SGC if they were able to get a lead. But that's the whole problem right now with SGC and the team composition they've built up. They want to protect the Vayne with a Shen split push and allow him to farm into the late game. But they have no way of getting there. They did a lane swap, which started them off on the wrong foot. They lost a turret. They've never had pressure at any point in this game. Shen is also needs to somehow get ahead. If he wants to start being able to 1v1 people, he can't do that now. And especially if he's going to be split pushing, he needs the rest of his team to be doing something else. At that point, he could just get ganged up on 3v1. Now he's just rezzing as the inhibitor is taking shots.
Well, here we go. Inhibitor taking damage right there. We're going to see if this one goes on down. 6 turrets killed so far by Tick, Trick, and Duck. A little bit of CC coming across, but only onto the jungler, who's plenty tanky. Cavalier taking some damage. Poked around by Xerath. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we still have only 2 items on the Vayne, so no armor pen for that Blade of the Rune King. Really only getting the true damage out there. Snow kiting backwards, but he's poking these guys around.
That was a bit of a failed Xerath ultimate, but look, he did get Cavalier low with the rest of it. It's a fairly low cooldown. You can see Xerath just waiting out. If SGC wanted to try like a last-ditch effort right here, you might see an initiation if they can get a good Orianna ultimate. They really want this game to get later.
Yeah.
But they're just not getting the windows to let the game get later.
They're really not right now. TTD still happy to siege up this top lane. Bottom lane actually has a pretty big minion wave shoving in, but we'll see if that manifests into much right here. TTD still now putting the traps down, trying to make sure that this siege is easier for them. There's no way for the other team to enter on in. How many attacks do we get from Caitlyn? Sunny actually very afraid of Orianna. With the wave, doesn't attack once.
I'm a little surprised that even with the Sunfire Cape and our Randuin's, that Phantom Joe isn't taking at least a couple shots at the turret to allow Caitlyn to get it down, because in that last wave, they got 0 damage on the turret. And yeah, that's exactly why they're going to fall back. They realize if they didn't get any damage in the last turret, they're not going to get any in the next wave, and they're just going to go back and take some objectives.
Yeah, no point to let Vayne just farm it up. She's actually going to go and take the mid lane farm right here, so a little bit of gold answered just ever so slightly. TTD sweeping away the wards. They've got complete vision control now over this top lane jungle. There's actually like no wards on the map, basically, for SGC.
Yeah. Well, it's because SGC has been trapped inside their base for so long. They just haven't had time to go and get these. This would be a danger for a steal if Elise were to get in range, but Xerath and Renekton are doing a pretty good job at keeping presence right now. He's trying to make a run for it. Let's see if they can cut him off.
They pinged where Gladic was going towards. They've actually rerouted him, so no one's here to steal away the Baron. That's picked up right there. 300 gold a person. going to Tick, Trick, and Duck. In addition to the buff, they're going to recall, buy a bunch of items, and go for what might be their attempt at a game-winning push.
Yeah, and he got a conservation as well.
Ooh.
You can see the 365 over Vi's head because he got 25 gold for the Baron, 40 for the conservation.
All right.
So you smite Baron not only to secure it, but you want the conservation money.
You want to secure it from your own team just in case.
Yeah.
They're going to steal your money if they don't. If you don't.
They actually will.
Yeah.
The money, it's not even stolen. It's just lost.
Goes away.
It's just like throwing money away.
Why would you ever do that?
If they're pennies, sometimes I throw out pennies because I don't like having like hundreds of them lying around.
Yeah, I actually thought for a while that like we should just round all the values. Like when you buy something, just round it off and just don't give pennies out.
I agree. I think though, I don't think we should have pennies. I think 5 cents is fair enough.
Yeah.
It's going to be a couple bucks a year in either direction.
Most. Yeah, it'll probably end up fine.
I'm sure there'll be some businesses that try to put everything around so it rounds up and they make a couple more cents on purchases. But you can just stop going to those places.
Yep.
And then it won't be a problem.
And honestly, the opportunity cost of having to deal with pennies probably worth it.
Agreed.
Honestly, like I don't even want to mess with those. But I feel bad giving them to the tip trays. It
Yeah,
feels
me
like
too.
an
I
insult.
feel cheap.
Yeah. It's like, oh, have these, and they're just like, oh, wow, you're a jerk. You made the effort, but not really.
I really don't like pennies.
Yeah, they're pretty crappy. They don't even work in vending machines. Like, it's how I get rid of like nickels and dimes. They'll just like show up one day and like, oh, I'll just buy soda with dimes today.
Things are getting real rough for SGC right now. We talked about how far ahead TTD was right now, and if they win this, they move on to the next round to beat NIP. This could be the second inhibitor down without opposition. Shen isn't even close. Lulu's in base. Things are looking very grim.
This is definitely rough. At least Cavalier has his ulti available. Second inhibitor goes down. Tick, Trick, and Duck looking to close out Game 3 with this push. Lantern comes across. Snow doesn't want to click the Lantern. Does look for worse ADC West. ADC West actually dodging the first two. Goes in for some damage. Doesn't dodge the last one, but he's still alive. Gladicute goes in. This was going to be the last fight of the game. Elise goes down. The jump in. Goodbye to Orianna. Doesn't even get the shockwave. ADC West forced to run away. Lula's going to go down as well. Cavalier just has not joined the fight because his target died. 2 versus 5. Tick, Trick, and Duck looking to close the game out. Game 3, they're going to move on to top 4. They will face NIP in 2 weeks, and they have moved on closer to their goal, reaching the LCS.
And the most successful game was the third one. Extremely convincing. They get the ace in the hole on the fountain. 14 kills to 3. Congratulations to TTD.
2-1 on the scoreline, and man, did that Game 2 look scary for them, though. Game 1, all right, pretty well played. Game 2, guys, are you sure you know what you're doing? And then convincing this time around.
Their picks and bans in the third game were much stronger. They denied almost everything that had been working for Storm Games Clan throughout the tournament. They took Caitlyn away from them. They took Renekton away from them. And they just controlled the game.
That was interesting, too, because they actually shied away from their own comfort picks. The champions they normally play on the table, and they're like, you know what? We think we can remove more from you guys and make this work. It was interesting. To me, it's a very risky adaptation because you hope they don't have backup champions on the other side. Definitely worked out. Now, of course, guys, our second day of Challenger quarterfinals is in our match history, so let's check out the European Challenger bracket. Our first semifinal match has been decided. The former LCS squad and top-seeded Challenger team Ninjas in Pajamas will face off against Tick, Trick, and Duck on Thursday, February 6th.
And next week, it's 2 more European quarterfinal matches. On Thursday, it's the other former LCS team, Meet Your Makers, facing off against Eyes on You. And on Friday, it's Voidal and Cloud9 Eclipse taking on Pulse Esports.
And while the European leagues are shutting down for the week, tomorrow it's North America's turn to take to the Rift. Coming up on Saturday, we've got 4 North American LCS matches coming your way, starting with Skara and Dignitas, taking on ManCloud and XDG. This action all kicks off noon Pacific or 2100 CET.
Yeah, and immediately following the LCS is the first quarterfinal match in the North American Challenger Series. Cloud9 Tempest, this naming convention is not going to get confusing, don't worry, which was formerly the Walking Zed. They take on Skyline with a spot in the semifinals on the line.
And with that, we've reached the end of tonight's journey. Thanks once again to our friends at Coca-Cola. And now for myself, Jat, and the entire live broadcast crew, thanks for watching, good night, and GG.